Hello, dear students. Good evening. Uh, we are looking at the second part of your exams, which is actually the most difficult part. You have passed the first stage, which is written. Now, oral is another thing, and I will want to underline the fact that oral, even though it is difficult, but there are some technical points that you can always navigate yourself through. So, considering that you have passed the written, already shows that you know that you have the head knowledge. So, if you look at the communique launching the concours, you will see the purpose of aura. The purpose of aura is not to see how much you know. It is to uh, see if you can speak publicly, if you can be bold enough. Yes, it's to see your boldness and so on. So now, remember, you are entering there to in your discussion with the jury to answer questions, and so you need to uh, revise your notes. You need to revise your notes. So for those who did court registry, for those who did the judicial, maybe in magistracy, you need to go back to your business law notes. You need to go back to your criminal procedure notes. You need to go back to your civil procedure, civil law, and so on. For those of you who did general administration, you need to go back to your economics notes. You need to go back to your public law notes, and so on and so forth. So and revise them very well, because your questions will probably comes from them, from those courses. So they will ask you questions from any of the courses, and most of the time the questions are from the courses that you wrote for the written part of the exams. So they ask you questions in accordance to the courses that you wrote for the written. Now, it is not an obligation that your question must come from there. It is possible that they may ask you anything. They may ask you anything. So as you are going, be prepared for anything. But generally, you are to be asked from the courses that you did, from the courses that you wrote during the written. So uh, generally, that's how it is supposed to be. But that should not go without saying that if you are asked a question and you cannot, or if you are asked a question that is maybe from general knowledge or from any course that you did not do for the written, you don't tell the jury that no, this is not our course, this is, you are asking me questions on things I did not do, it is not part of the exams. No, you are to answer it. So expect anything, but know that your questions have to come from the courses that you prepare for the written. So you go back there and you reread your notes very well. Now let us go to the oral proper. Before then, it is uh, Elijah Nongo speaking. I will believe that you have been doing your preparations, you have been revising your notes, you have been going through your notes also, yeah, in preparation for the orals. So I will not stress again on the notes. I will just go to guide you on how to behave before the jury. It is proven that at times some people just look at the jury, they just enter, they are scared, the environment is tense for them. Yeah, so I want to tell you that no, those, even though they are OPA sitting there, they are your fathers. They are not to harm you. They are not there to harm you. They are not there to injure you. They are not there to frighten you. They are not there to scare you. They are there to do what? To help you. To help you go through that particular session of the exams. So you don't get scared. You don't get frightened. You don't get somehow, yeah. So you should feel free. You should feel free. They are not going to beat you. Yes, you should feel free, even before the jury. Now, let us go into dressing code. How are you expected to dress? For the men, for guys, for men, what do? You are expected to dress in black suit. You are expected to dress in black suit. It could be black, it could be blue black, it could be, yeah, let me just go with black. So you wear your black suit, your black shoe, your your what white shirt, and your tie. So the tie can be bow tie or normal tie that we know. So that should be black tie or ox blood. So any of those two, but it is preferable. We always prefer that since you are not yet an ENAM student, you are not yet in ENAM, you wear your black tie. Ox blood are mostly for ENAM students, but if you have but the ox blood, no problem. Just wear it like that. It is you are not penalized, but it is more preferable if you have your black uh tie, right? Yeah. So that is it for the guys, and you can wear any other thing that you like. It could be a watch, it could be yeah. So for the ladies, how do you dress? For the ladies, you wear your black suit, right? Your black suit. When I say black suit, it also go with the men, right? So you don't wear a suit that has uh 4 buttons. No, wear a suit that has just one buttons or highest two. Yes, a suit that has just one button or highest two. That is because when you are sitting, you have to unbutton it. Even though I'll get into that in some minutes to come. But before then, it is preferable to get a suit that has just one buttons or two highest, not the one that has 4, 5, and 6 buttons. So now, for the ladies, also you need to wear your black shoe. It should not be barely, right? You are wearing suit, so it should be high heel, a high heel shoe. So it should not be too high. It should not be too high. Again, a normal high heel shoe. And then it should not be this kind of shoe that has irons under and then is making too much noise, pop 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 pop, as you are entering. Yes, it's yeah. So it is normal that high heel should make noise, but it should not be as alarming. It should not be too alarming again. Yeah. So you get to know the kind of shoe you buy, and then you have you need to buy your handbag, right? You need to buy your handbag. That is for the ladies, a small handbag, because when you sit, you are supposed to expected to put it in front of you at the side. Yeah, at your side on the table. There will be table. I will describe to you how that is going to be done. So you need a small handbag, and you also need to make your hair. For the ladies, you need to make your hair. So that is, I think, for the dressing, that is how you're expected to dress. If I'm not mistaken anything, that is how you're expected to dress. And then now, talking about perfumes, especially for the ladies, you people always like to smell good. It is good. It is good to smell good, but know that this particular time around, you don't use a perfume that is too alarming. A perfume that is a perfume that immediately you enter the hall, the jury start choking. It starts, yes, calling people attention of the juries towards you and so on. No, you can spray your normal perfume to smell fresh, to smell nice, is good, but it should not be a shouting perfume. Yeah. By the way, you best know that. Now, you should know that when it comes to orals, immediately you enter the hall, your exam begins. It begins immediately you enter the hall. So there is no room for you to go out when you are not yet done. So that is to say that you should mind the kind of things you eat, because if you have posh belly that day, especially before the jury, it is your business. It is your business. So I'm indirectly saying that you don't eat ndole. You don't eat any kind of food that used to disturb you, any kind of food that used to give you posh belly, any kind of food that used to disturb your stomach. You don't eat those kind of food that day. So, and likewise, you don't get into ENAM and then you start buying foods that you have never eaten before. You don't see something that you have never eaten before on that day and buy, because you don't know whether that thing will go and find a better place in your stomach, or you go and start disturbing your stomach. So it is good to test another day, not on the day of your oral. So if you see a food that, if you see something that you have never eaten before that day, don't buy. It is even preferable that you eat your normal food, what you used to eat, and then it doesn't disturb you, maybe even in your house. If you used to eat fufu corn, eat your fufu corn that day. If you used to eat rice, eat your rice that day. If you used to eat whatever you used to eat in your house on normal days and it doesn't disturb you, eat it that day. Eat it that day, because it will be brutal, it will be problematic if your stomach has started disturbing you before the jury. You will not be comfortable, and as worst is when it starts causing you problem. Maybe you have to, yeah, let me not say it, to go and poo. Now, if possible, don't drink water. Don't drink too much water. Yeah, it is better you should be feeling thirsty before the jury than to be feeling pressed, because you will not be given the floor. The like your exams already begin, so you will not be that opportune to go and ease yourself before you come back, or even if that must be done, because I will not also advise that you pee on your body if you are really pressed before the jury. So that is to say, you mind the way you treat yourself before entering to the jury. So if you see that, you have maybe drank a lot of water, then you should ensure to use the toilet before it is your turn to go before the jury. So now, how do you enter the hall when it is your turn to enter? Is a secretariat. The member of the secretariat will lead you in, so will notify you to go in. So as you are going, the door will be locked. So as the door is locked, you are not just expected to enter, you have to knock. So you knock, pong pong. So as you knock, they may answer, they may not answer, so don't even expect them to answer. So the moment you knock, you just open, pop, and then you just open and enter. But the thing now is, how do you enter? That is another question to handle. How do you enter? As you are entering, you can you can open the door with your right hand, and as you are entering, you are closing it back with your left hand. So you are not expected to turn your back to the jury to close the door. No, you are not expected to turn to close the door normally as we used to do. So I don't know, you may do this kind of practice in your house, maybe today or tomorrow before going. Yeah, so you just open the door with your right hand, and as you are entering, you are closing, you send by your left hand behind you and close it, so that you don't back, you don't give your back to the jury. It is not acceptable. Now, when you have already entered, remember this thing that we are saying. If possible, you do a practice of it. You can practice it like 3, 4, 5 times even before going, or 2, 3 times before going, so that you already be used to. Now, when you enter, there will be a chair for you, but you are not expected to sit on that chair until you are asked to do so. So there's a chair and a table. That chair and the table are yours, but you don't just sit there if the jury does not ask you to sit. It is part of your exams. So when you enter, you are expected to greet them. So immediately you enter, you approach where the chairs are, and then you just stand and then you greet. Honorable President of the jury, honorable members of the jury, members of the secretariat, good morning. So that is according to the hour of the day, the time of the day. Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening? Honorable President of the jury, honorable members of the jury and the secretariat, good afternoon, good evening, according to the time. So you should best know which kind of greetings you give. So now, when you say so, it is obvious that the president of the jury will say, good morning, my son, good morning, my daughter, if you are a lady. So probably, and say, have a seat, or say you can sit down. So the president of the jury may say that, as well as he may not say anything. So if you are not asked to sit down, what do? You stand up and answer your question to the end of your oral session and leave without sitting, because you have not been asked to sit. But if you are asked to sit, what happened? You say, thank you, sir. Probably most of the time is the president of the jury. You can say, thank you, honorable president of the jury. You can say, thank you, sir. It is accepted. Anyone you use, thank you, sir. And then you go now to the table, to the chair that is prepared for you, and you don't just sit. You jig the table, you jig the chair a bit up. You jig it a bit up and take it behind, put it down. You just jig it, lift it a bit, not carrying it. You just lift it a bit, such that we are just avoiding a scenario where you don't pull the chair on the floor. No, you don't do that. You just jig it a bit administratively. You jig it a bit up and take it behind, put it down, and then you enter and sit, because the chair is close to the table, and the space between the chair and the table may not permit you to just enter and sit. The chair may be too close to the table, so you jack it up and take it behind a little bit, and then you put it down, and then you now enter and sit you quietly. So you may sit and realize that you overtook it behind, that the chair is far behind. You are not really so comfortable, like between the table and the chair, like between where you are sitting, like the chair is far behind from the table. So you don't drag it again, that quang on the floor. No, you don't. You jig your buttocks a bit, and you jig the chair a little bit, and take it a little bit in front, and then you put it down now and sit on it. You realize that you are comfortable. So that is how you sit. And remember, by the time you are sitting, you have jigged the chair behind, right? And you enter, you want to sit. As you are sitting, simultaneously, you unbutton your suit. You unbutton it. As you are sitting, it's a simultaneous something. It's not like you sit and then you unbutton it. No. As you are sitting, you are taking out the button. You unbutton your suit. And then you sit now, and then you put your hand on the table. You fold your hand, your two hands, you fold it, you bring them together on the table like this. They will know that you are ready, and they will start asking you questions. Now, for ladies, you need to put your back now beside, there's a table, right? So as you are sitting, you also unbutton your suit, right? And then you put your back at the side, at your side, right? Most of the time, it is at your right side. It is at your right side most of the time. So if you even put it on the wrong left side, it's not a problem. But you put it at the side of the table, like on the table, not down on the floor, on the table. The table is there for you. You just put it at the side, and then you fold your hand also, and then you don't scatter your legs, right? It is for guys that when they sit, they open their legs anyhow. They open their legs wide and sit them comfortable. But for a lady, you are expected to close your legs for reasons best known to you. Okay, now let us proceed. You need to know that unlike common law, where you pick questions from the basket already to know your questions, classic is not like that. So they will ask you, they will just start bombarding you with questions. They will just start giving you questions anyhow. So you are expected to answer those questions. You are expected to answer those questions. And remember, how do you answer this question? You speak audibly. You speak audibly, clearly and audibly. So don't speak such that they'll be asking you, what have you said? We are not getting you. No. That is to say, you don't speak in your stomach. You don't speak in your stomach. You speak to their hearing. You ensure that what you are saying, they are hearing. Yeah. So that's how you speak. And then remember, each time any of the jury member asks you a question, you don't just go answering it. You don't just start answering. You don't just start answering. For example, if you are asked, what are the constitutive elements of a state? You don't just start saying, the constitutive element of the state is the population, territory, and sovereign government. No, you don't say so. You start by saying, thank you, sir, for the question. If it's the president of the jury, you can say, thank you, sir, for the question. You can say, thank you, honorable president of the jury, for the question. If it is another member of the jury, you can say, thank you, honorable members of the jury, for the question. As well as you can say, thank you, sir, for the question. So all I want to say is that when you are asked a question, you start by saying, thank you, sir, for the question. Then before you go into answering, that the constitutive element of the states, we have the territory, population, and the sovereign government. Maybe you start enlightening. Maybe the population comprises of both nationals and foreigners living in the country, or whatsoever you want to talk about. And for the territory, we have the territorial boundaries, and then we have extraterritoriality, or whatever you want to say. So, but I'm trying to say that when you are asked a question, you say thank you, sir, for the question before you go into answering. Now, it is also possible that you may be asked a question and then you go off topic. It is very possible. And then the member of the jury wants to bring you back to track. For example, you are asked, what is the constitutive element of the state? And then you say, the state must be sovereign. Sovereignty is the supreme power vested on the state to govern her people. Then you see, the member of the jury may ask you, okay, my daughter, my son, your question was not on sovereignty. Your question was on the constitutive element of the state. So it is possible that that happens. So if it happens, don't argue. Don't go into argument with the jury that yes, sir, I was trying to say this before I come back to the constitutive element. I was trying to say, or you don't go to say that, sir, there is also sovereignty in there is a sovereign government in constitutive element of the state. So we must first of all understand what sovereignty is before we look at it. No, you don't say that. You don't say that, because the jury can frustrate you in any way if you want to show them that you know more than them. So you don't argue. You don't argue with the jury. So when a member of the jury tries to bring you back to track, that my daughter, my son, your question was this. Can you speak? Can you tell us this particular thing you were asked? What do you say? You say, thank you, honorable members of the jury, for the question. Or you say, thank you, sir, for the question. Then you go back now to what they are asking you. Even if you don't know, and then you have to continue with what you are saying, you must say, thank you, sir, for the question. Then you continue what you are saying. It's better like that than to go into argument with the jury. You don't argue. And when the member of the jury want to speak, if a member of the jury want to say something, don't forcefully try to finish what you started saying. No. If you start a sentence and in the middle of that sentence, a member of the jury start talking, you just stop. You stop immediately. Let him finish first. Let him finish. So you don't speak when the member of the jury is speaking. And immediately you finish speaking, whether it is a correction or whether it is a question, you say, thank you, sir, for the correction. Thank you, sir, for the question. And then you continue to answer the question. I'm sure you are getting. Okay. Now, it is also possible that you are asked a question that you don't know. You may be asked, maybe, which kind of political regimes or Cameroon practice which kind of political regime. Maybe you don't know. You don't even know whether it is a presidential regime, or you don't even know whether it's a parliamentary regime. You don't even know whether it's a mixed regime. I'm just taking example, right? I'm just taking example. So, you speak. You can take one and speak with boldness. You can argue that Cameroon is a parliamentary regime, and then you start speaking with boldness, yes, without doubting. You don't say, I think Cameroon should be, no. Cameroon is a parliamentary regime, because Cameroon is a parliamentary regime because in the political regime, we have Cameroon have the executive, it has the independent judiciary, it has the legislative, and there is this separation of power. And so you see, you go about maybe saying that Cameroon is a presidential regime because it is. So you see, anyone you take, you just speak with confidence. I mean, should in case you don't know the exact answer, but if you know the exact answer, you give them. But if you don't know the exact answer and then you don't make as if you are doubting, you don't doubt, you don't doubt, you don't doubt, you are speaking with boldness. The purpose of the jury is not just to see whether you know, it is also to see if you can speak with boldness, if you can speak with confidence. Even if you want to lie, lie with confidence. You see, so if you are telling us that Cameroon is a presidential regime, you are telling us that there is a strict separation of power. There's a strict separation of power between the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary in Cameroon. That is how it applies. But if you are telling us that it's a parliamentary regime, you can be telling us that there is this separation of power, but there is that collaboration between the executive and the legislative, and why not even the judiciary? So you can take away, you can say it's a mixed system. So I'm just trying to say, now you don't know what to say, you don't know the real one, but you are not expected to say, I think. No, you don't think. You don't think before the jury. You are telling them what happens. So even if you are lying, lie with confidence, speak with boldness. Speak with that boldness is what they want. That boldness is what they want. So two people may enter. One is speaking with boldness and is lying. Another person is speaking doubtfully what is right, but in a doubtful manner. They will grade the person that is speaking with boldness even though he's lying more than you that is speaking the right thing doubtfully. So now, but should in case you are asked a question that you don't even know the answer, you don't even know the wrong thing to say. Normally, I don't advise you to say the wrong thing, right? I'm just saying that whatever you are answering, you should speak with boldness. You should believe that it is true because that is true to you. That is what you think it is true. Then you don't tell them, you don't say that I think. If you think that Cameroon is a presidential regime, you are saying that it is a presidential regime. So you are speaking with that confidence. And it does not also mean that if you start speaking that Cameroon is a presidential regime and it's like this, and then a member of the jury tell you that my son, Cameroon is a parliamentary regime, and then or Cameroon is a mixed regime, you just say that no, member of the jury, Cameroon is this. You're trying to defend that point. No. Thank you, honorable member of the jury, for the correction. That's what you say, right? That's what you say. You don't argue with them. Don't argue with them. Even if they ask you 1 + 1, you say that 1 + 1, my honorable member of the jury, 1 + 1 is 2. And another member of the jury say, no, 1 + 1 is 11. You don't argue. Thank you, honorable member of the jury, for the correction. And then you even make as if you are writing it down. You even make as if you want to take it down. That 1 + 1 equal to 11, so that you will never forget again. Yeah. But should in case you are asked a question that you don't know, for example, they ask you, what is the name of the minister of justice? You don't even know that is Lawrence Esu. Whatever the case, they may ask you something that you don't know. What do? You don't tell the jury that you don't know. It is forbidden. It is highly forbidden to tell the jury that you don't know. You tell them that, you start by saying that, thank you, sir, for the question. That's how you start. Thank you, sir, for the question. So you don't tell them that you don't know. Thank you, sir, for the question. And then you proceed. Honorable president of the jury, honorable members of the jury. Unfortunately, the answer to the question just skipped my mind. So with the permission of the jury, you wish that we continue with the oral session, then I'll answer the question anytime before leaving the hall. So they will know that you don't know and they will not come back with it again. Yeah. So that is the easiest way of saying that you don't know. You don't say that, I don't know. Sorry, sir, I don't know me the question. You don't say so. So now, one other thing you need to do is, when you are speaking to the jury, you need to be looking at the jury. You need to be looking at the jury. So you don't speak to the jury looking up. You don't speak to the jury bending your head down. No. That is a sign of disrespect before the jury. You face them. You face them. Normally, it is proven from my many years of experience, it is proven that most of the time when you enter before the jury, you are scared. And as the as you start discussing with them, you are gaining that comfortable environment. You are becoming used to them already. But what I'm trying to say is that if you feel that you are scared, if you look into their faces, you are scared, you can pretend as if you are looking at them, but your eyes are not really focused on them. You can pretend in that way. You can make as if your face is on them, but you are not looking at them. However you do it, but it is highly disrespectful if you are speaking to them facing down. It is not acceptable. Now, don't disclose your identity for any reason. Don't disclose your identity before the jury. Even if the member of the jury asks you, who are you and where are you coming from? Don't tell them that my name is Fununduongo Shianto Pumboto in Chonkin Kinkurunga Nunke. You don't tell them. You don't tell them your name. You don't tell them that my name is Elijah Nongo. You don't tell them that I'm from Bambalang. You don't tell them that I'm from Northwest. You don't tell them that I'm from the Littoral region. You don't tell them that I'm from Garwa. I'm from this village. No, you don't. But should in case a member of the jury asks, what are you expected to do? You don't tell a member of the jury also that I cannot tell you my identity, sir. I cannot disclose my identity, sir. You don't say so. So you need to be as polite as possible in all your answers, in all your responses to the jury. You need to be as polite as possible. All right. So you can kindly say, sorry, sir, considering that this is a competitive exam of this magnitude, I don't think it is right to disclose my identity. So you should be as polite as possible. You should be very polite in all your answers. Now, when you are done with the jury, normally the president of the jury will tell you that you can go. And what do? You now stand up, right? You stand up. You probably the chair is too close to you that you cannot go out. The chair is too, like, the different, or the space between the chair and the table may not permit yourself to even stand. Between the table that is before you and the chair that you are sitting may not permit you to even stand. So you just jig your buttock a bit, then jig the chair up a bit and take it behind a little bit so that you can stand up. Then you put it down and you have a small space now between the table and the chair that you can stand up. And as you are standing up, just like you were closing, or just like you were just like you unbutton your suit by the time you are sitting, as you are standing up, you button your suit back as you are standing up. So it's a simultaneous something. It's not like you stand up and then you start buttoning. No, as you are standing up like this, you are already buttoning it. That is how it is done. And when you button it now, you step out and stand beside the table, right? You stand beside the table and you say, thank you, sir. Or you say, thank you, honorable president of the jury, honorable members of the jury, and members of the secretariat, and I wish you a proper continuation. Or you can say, and I wish you a good day, whatever you want to say. So now you go quietly. And as you are going, just like you enter, that is how you go. You don't turn to lock the door. As you go, probably you may use your left hand now to open the door. As you are opening it and you are stepping outside, your right hand is closing the door back so you don't turn. And then you are done. That is how the oral unfolds. Now, in the course of your orals, you may be asked to sing the national anthem. What if you are asked to sing the national anthem? What do? You don't sing the national anthem sitting down. You stand up. And if possible, you even stand and, how they say it, gardez-vous, attention. You stand attention. It's not like you say attention. No, you just take a responsible position, right? Yeah. And then you invite the member of the jury to stand up as you sing the anthem. So it is possible that you may invite them and they refuse to stand, because normally they will stand up. Immediately you invite them. to stand up as you sing the national anthem. So, like I said, you should be as polite as possible. Honorable President of the jury, honorable members of the jury, you are already standing, right? And the members of the secretariat, I wish to invite you all to stand up as I sing the national anthem. That is polite enough. So they will stand up. But if they don't stand up, you don't sing. You also decline. But even if all of them stand up and one person refuses to stand up, you also decline. You also decline. And you don't go to tell them that I cannot sing the anthem when you are standing, when you are sitting down. So I will not sing. No. So if they don't stand up, or if they stand and some people refuses to stand, then you also be polite enough to say, Honorable President of the jury, honorable members of the jury and the secretariat, or members of the secretariat, with the love I have for this country, I cannot sing the anthem while you are sitting down. I cannot sing the anthem while some people are sitting down. You have already declined, right? So you should be as polite as possible. Let me keep saying it. Okay. Now, the voice is already too long. I will not like to go deep again, but considering that you may have questions, you may have anything, if you have any issue with the voice, if you need anything to be clarified, you just get to Sir Godwill, and then he will clarify you on your doubt. So anything that you are doubting, anything you need to be clarified, anything you need to maybe understand better before going, you get to Sir Godwill, and then he will clarify you on that. So you should also take note of the following. You should know that or you should know how to describe the dress you are wearing, because they may ask you, even the French jury may ask you to describe what you are wearing in French, right? So you should be able to say like veste noire, chemise blanche, or whatever the case. Yeah. So if it is a bow tie, or if it is ox blood tie, ox blood, we call it Bordeaux, right? If it is black, you should call it noir, right? Black shoe. So you should know the names of all what you are wearing. And if by one reason or the other you are wearing a watch, in describing what you wear, because they can ask you to describe or to tell the jury what you are wearing. So you start from head to toe. For guys, you can start with Boo Zero, right? Yeah, it's for guys. Remember, you shave. Oh, Boo Zero, right? Well, by the way, you are expected to shave. Boo Zero. Let me say it and say it again. That is for the guys, but for the ladies, you make your hair. And for the ladies, don't make a hair that is touching your buttocks, right? Your hair should not be touching your buttocks. It should not even be touching your back. It should not, by the way, it should not cross your shoulders. Your hair should not cross your shoulders. If it is long enough, then you have to tie it. But normally, you should just make something normal. It should not cross your shoulders. It can come down to your shoulders, but it should not cross it, going down to your back. So you should be able to describe what you are wearing. If you are wearing anything on you that they know the name, even in French, because a French jury may ask you. For example, I talk of a watch. You should be able to say it. A black watch, a purple watch. Yeah. And then don't wear a bad watch, because if you wear a watch, you may be asked to tell us the time. What is the time? So if you are asked to tell us the time, you just check your time. Okay, the honorable member of the jury, honorable president of the jury, members of the jury, the time is 4 p.m. The time is 1 minute past 3, whatever. Yes. So you don't wear a watch that is not reading time, right? It's a bad watch. So you should also take note. You should know the color of the Cameroon flag in French, because you may be asked, right? Yes. Green, red, yellow, and don't forget the star. Yes, the golden star in the middle, actually on the red color. So now you should know the name of governors. yeah, and their respective regions, because you may be asked to give the names of 3 or 4 governors with their respective regions. So the governor of Southwest is this, the governor of Northwest, the governor of Littoral, the governor is of Center region is this. So you may be asked to give their names and their respective. So you may be asked why you choose ENAM, why you choose to go to ENAM, maybe this particular section. So you don't go about telling the jury how you have written different concours and it failed you. Now you want to come and try ENAM. You don't need to tell the jury why you see that ENAM maybe is the most prestigious school in Cameroon. That is why you want to come there. You don't need to tell the jury that it is because you see that graduating from ENAM you'll be a better person. No, you don't tell them all of that. You need to tell them how you have always wished to work in the administration right from childbirth. You have always wished to be maybe a Jew. You have always wished to be a minister. You have always wished to be maybe in the position of authority so that you better lead people. You have always wish, you have always desire, yeah, to perform justice. That's why you are coming to the court registry. That's why you are coming to magistracy. You have always desire to be like this, and so let it be. But that is your a kind of calling. If yeah, you are actually called to do that, not actually because you have seen that there is fruit, that there are some sweet juice there that you are coming to harvest. Now take note of this. Don't criticize the state. You don't criticize the state. All right, you don't criticize the state. If you are asked maybe anything concerning this creative behavior, crisis and so on, you always tell them how the state is putting too much effort, the state is working so hard to bring the situation back to normalcy. You see, so you don't go about criticizing the state is doing nothing, the state has been all these things. No, you don't. You should be as neutral as possible. In fact, you should be as patriotic and as neutral as possible. So dear aspirants, ladies and gentlemen, this was Elijah Nongo speaking. I would love to end here, not leaving you actually. If you have any worry, like I said before, anything, get to Sir Godwill and then he'll clarify you. Okay, do have a blessed day. If we don't meet again, then I'll wish you the best in your exams.